Good day, everyone. I am John Balyaran, the assigned reporter for this topic entitled The Social Responsibility of the Rich Countries. But first, let me read to you the main objectives of my report. One is to define the social responsibility of the rich countries. Two is to express the different international trade to less developed countries. And last but not the least is the create a reflection towards the relations of rich and poor countries. In the world, there are very few rich countries and there are many poor countries, and the gap between them is getting wider. So, the poverty of the most countries like Africa, Asia, and Latin America has been caused by inadequate financial resources, poor technology, and the unfavorable attitudes, including the values and institution of the peoples. And of course, it is always the human factor that counts most in any developmental system. However, the rich countries are likewise greatly responsible for the poverty of the less developed countries. Being the more fortunate nations, they have a social responsibility to the poor countries. It is about the time that the rich countries should sufficiently make up for the hundreds of years of exploiting the poor countries. So, this chapter I will explain the international trade in relation to the development of the less developed countries, the nature of foreign investments, AIDS, loans, the hungry world, and the social responsibility of the rich countries towards the poor countries. Number one is the trade and development. So it refers to the interconnected relationship between the international trade practices and economic growth, particularly in developing countries. So we can say that effective trade policies can stimulate economic development by increasing market access and fostering competition and enhancing productivity, like the WTO's Committee on Trade and Development, which aim to support developing nations through technical assistance, preferential treatment, and capacity building to integrate them into the global trading system. Second is the trade barriers. Trade barriers are government imposed restrictions that hinder international trade. They can take various forms, including tariffs and non tariffs. So, for your information, tariffs is the taxes on imports that raise the cost of foreign goods, making domestic products more competitive. And when we say non tariff, this includes quotas, limits on the quantity of goods, import licenses, subsidies for local industries, and embargoes or bans on trade with certain countries. Third is the new International Economic Order, or the NIEO, emerged in the 1970s, advocating for economic decolonization and equitable development, particularly for developing nations. So it aimed to restructure global economic governance to address inequalities between the global north and south. The NIEO was formalized in 1974 through United Nations. Fourth is proposed solutions to trade inequities. It focused on creating more equitable global trading system, particularly for developing countries. Key strategies include resource exports club, energy authorities, seed bank networks, and improving market access. So Resource Export Club, it is establishing multilateral clubs for primarily commodity exporters to stabilize prices and improve bargaining power. Energy authorities is the farming regional energy authorities in the global south to reduce dependence on external energy. And seed bank networks, creating networks of seed banks to enhance agricultural diversity, food sovereignty, supporting local farmers. And improving market access, it advocate for the removal of tariffs and non-tariffs, which we tackled earlier, that disproportionately affect developing nations, thus enhancing their ability to engage in global trade. The fifth one is the new forms of foreign investment, including various strategies and structures that companies use to expand internationally. So, FDI, or foreign direct investment, this involves substantial investment where companies either establish new operations or greenfield investment or acquire existing businesses. And portfolio investment, this refers to purchasing financial assets like stocks and bonds in foreign markets. And platform FDI is the companies invest in foreign operations to produce goods primarily to export to third countries. Six is the international oil monopoly. It refers to the dominance of a few major oil companies in the global oil market, significantly influencing prices and supplies. So this control allows them to maximize profits through price manipulation and supply restrictions, often resulting in higher costs for consumer and less competition in the market. Seven is the Philippine oil situation. It is characterized by a heavy reliance on imports, with domestic productions averaging only 23,000 barrels per day, primarily from the Gallup oil field, and in 2023, the country consumed approximately 455,000 barrels daily, necessitating imports about 432,000 barrels daily. So, the petroleum market is projected to grow from $14.62 billion in 2023 to $21.54 billion by 2032, driven by economic development and government initiatives aimed at enhancing energy security. So the seven is the rationale foreign aid service multiple purposes primarily aim at promoting development and alleviating poverty in recipient countries. It can be financial, military, or humanitarian and is often provided by developed nations to developing ones. So key rationale includes enhancing donor security, achieving diplomatic goals, and addressing global challenges like disease and climate change. Additionally, foreign aid can stimulate economic growth by improving infrastructure and supporting education. So, 8 is the foreign aid criticized. It centers on its effectiveness and unintended consequences. Critics argue that aid can create dependency, foster corruption, and entrench poor governance, as seen in countries where significant aid flows have not translated into the economic growth or poverty. So, some economists contend that aid often benefits elites rather than the intended recipients, leading to wasted resources and ineffective projects. Additionally, the argument that aid undermines local economies by discouraging investment and promoting currency overvaluation is prevalent among skeptics. So I hope that you learned something about my report, the social responsibility of the rich countries. And before I end my presentation, let me read this quotation for you by John F. Kennedy. He says that ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Thank you.